Cool. So welcome back to the last hour of episode 6 of Once Upon a Game, where we're playing Ben Robbins' Microscope Union, which is a new take on his game Microscope. We've been exploring the ancestry of a Dr. Kyoko Faust, who created the first faster than light engine, and working for a mega corporation called NeoNerps. We have been kind of exploring, and there's wastelands, mega cities. It's been a lot of fun. So now we're gonna go back to Kelsa, who started the game, being the first focus. We made it all the way around our digital table, back to her, and she's going to pick a new ancestor card, and we're gonna go from there.
All right. Hmm. I think we're gonna go with Ichi Marigold and
Mm,
that
yeah,
whole
the parents of General Ramirez.
yes.
Sure.
And I think we're gonna go with actually I'm gonna make a scene for Ichi because I can. It's fun. If you would be so kind as to be it to take dictation, Eric.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so
What's the question?
the question is, um, how do the megacorps feel about Ichi's small business of refurbishing uh, found technologies? And I'd like to go ahead and play this out
Okay.
because
Okay.
I don't really know. I'd like to find out. I think this is going to take place. Um, hmm. Just outside of her little shop,
Okay. Yeah.
wherever she's working out of, like in the alley behind it or in front of it, depending on how that's oriented.
Yep. Allie.
And I think it's important that Ichi is there.
Okay.
But
So
I don't think
it's,
there's. Sorry.
so yeah, just a required character is Ichi.
Yeah.
Sure.
And but that's it. There's no restricted characters or anything else. So.
Okay. So it goes to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm gonna make a guy named Major Tong, who is a enforcer of um, Paragon Industries. Oh, it's not supposed to be light. There we go.
Hmm. Um, it's to me, right?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
It's no, I thought it was, but I'm trying to figure out what kind of character I'm gonna play. um, maybe if like Major Tong is the enforcer, I'm playing like the good cop to his bad cop, uh, type
So
thing.
like his partner.
Right, right.
That makes
Maybe
sense. Yeah. Solid. So what's his name?
Uh, uh, Mr. Osgood.
Cool. Major Tong and Mr. Osgood. Um. Okay.
Which makes me itchy.
Yes.
Okay.
So then thoughts. Um. Major Tong doesn't want to upset his superiors, and wants to follow their orders, even though he personally disagrees with them. But the shop will, if Ichi doesn't pay up, Major Tong will carry out the orders as he was told.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, Leafington! I just ruined it. Ground control to Major Tong.
Yep. That's a legit thing.
Thanks.
I think Mr. Osgood is willing to compromise a little bit. Like he's been given some
Discretion. Yeah.
Discretion, yeah. But he's been told to like fix this issue or make it more monetarily viable.
Sure. Okay.
And Ichi is a combination of scared and annoyed because she knows that what she's doing is not 100% above board.
Sure.
And also, she's been doing this like for a while. Like, it's been a number of years that she's been operating out of this alley, and it's like, why did you guys have to come today?
Yeah, totally. So I guess we'll start with Major Tong and Mr. Osgood getting out of like your black Lincoln with the windows tinted, you know what I mean? Like hover car or whatever.
Mr. Osgood's definitely in like a full suit.
Yeah, like exactly. Yeah, like the luxury sedan of whatever it is. Yeah, and so Mr. Osgood's in a suit. Major Tong is in, I guess like tactical / like officer chic, kind of like somewhere between like an SS officer. You know what I mean? Like authoritarian suit. You know what I mean? Like Hugo Boss designed his suit, right? Whoever this is, and whoever in this cyberpunk future Hugo Boss is. But you know what I mean? And like so, but it also looks like it's like, like it's like, I don't know. Like it's not even important, but I love the idea that like it's a suit that like looks very well, but it's also like functionally like tactical, like it has like built-in like physical like elbow pads and stuff like that, but it makes it look nice.
I like it.
I don't know. So
and definitely the alley is like grungy, dirty.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's like tumbleweeds of trash.
Oh yeah.
And like you
can't see the sky. There's just like overhangs and like, you know what I mean? Like you could barely cut out a slant between the various people's like porches and things dangling between like the narrow corridors, like clothes drying, paper lanterns, like the whole everything's lit up with neon. Oh yeah.
You take 2 steps
but most
out
of the
car,
neon's like flickering.
Yeah.
And then like a rat scurries.
Yeah, and like the ground's just like mud. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
like disgusting,
And there's a like
just full of trash water.
right, there's that undertone electronic buzz
Buzz,
that
yeah,
like never really goes away.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And
sure.
then I think that Ichi is standing, like, to get to her shop, you have to like go down a couple of stairs,
Hmm.
and there's like during business hours, there's just like a leather curtain across the door, and you can like hear like a machinery, like a saw grinding through metal, and there's like blue sparks shooting which way,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know. She's like in the middle of a retrofit as
Hmm.
they approach.
Okay. Um, I like the idea that we come down the stairs or whatever, and like we open the door. The door says something, like Ishii's Bargain Electronics or something like that. And like you open the door and it has a little like market ringing sound, from like bells on the door.
Mhm.
And there's like one of those like lucky Chinese cats or whatever sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
That looks something. Maybe she like repaired it so it like waves or whatever. And but yeah, like her like back is maybe like towards the door or whatever on her workbench while she's doing this stuff. And Mr. And Major Tong kind of just like clears his throat very loudly, like when but it clearly happens during like one of like the loud like saw parts go down, and then it
Yeah,
goes, like even louder when there's a lull.
yeah. I think while Master Tog is trying to like get Ichi's
Attention, yeah,
attention, like Mr. Osgood is just sort of like sighing and like trying to like wipe things off his suit that he thinks are just starting to like grow on his suit, and so like
Just from like 20 steps from the car down the alley.
right,
yeah,
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 just thinking like this suit's already ruined, like
yeah. He has to burn it.
So yeah, it takes like a minute, like a solid minute to get her attention, and then finally like she stops the saw and turns around, and she's got huge goggles just covering most of her face, you know.
Mm.
Like in it, like she should be wearing a welder's mask, but she's not because she just doesn't have it, but she does have like uh like little um earplugs that are like connected on like a little chain, and she like pulls one out as she turns around, but she doesn't even bother lifting up her goggles. And she says, "Yes."
uh,
Major Tong looks to Mr. Osgood.
And she's like slowly looking them up and down, like getting a feel for them
Yeah.
from their
Um,
clothing.
Major Tong knows that like he could clearly like be mean to her or like and explain the situation in a rude way, but expects
I think
Mr. Osgood to sugar
yeah,
her.
yeah.
To
I think
sugarcoat it.
once
Yeah.
yeah, I think once uh, we're acknowledged, Mr. Osgood looks over and goes, Miss Marigold, I presume.
Hey.
I am Mr. Osgood, and this is Major Tong. We represent Paragon Industries. I believe we have a matter of discussion at hand.
She purposely sets down the saw that she'd been holding still, and flicks it off, like to the off position,
Mm.
and then she jumps up on her own workbench and sits down, and then she takes off her goggles and says, "All right then, discuss."
It. He starts looking around. He goes, it seems in this establishment uh, you have been using some parts from Paragon Industries. It, however, has not been licensed.
Yes.
She gives him like a long stare, and just finally she sighs and says, "Are you proposing I license your trash?"
Major Tong kind of like flinches at the insult, but thinks better
Well,
and says,
she's literally taking out of the garbage.
Yeah.
Is what she's saying.
"Yeah, but it's still
Well,
I think Major Tong outbursts and says like, that is illegal and you know it."
She kind of like looks around. The definition of legal these days is a little fuzzy.
I think Mr. Osgood sort of like raises his hand to Master Tong, and he goes, honestly, Miss Marigold, we would prefer you don't repair any trash and they just buy the new products. However, it seems some wish to hold on to old items. However, they are still from our industry. Would it not be beneficial if we all took part
Oh,
in that cut?
yeah. And 1 second. Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem. Of course. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
That's probably why I was having problems. His Skype crashed.
Oh, of course. It was no problem. So I guess, of course, it was Skype that was giving the issues. Sorry. Okay.
No worries.
All right. So we will rewind 15 seconds.
Yeah. So yeah, Mr. Osgood is trying to say that like, while he would prefer nothing gets repaired and they just buy the new variant of the product, that having some who repair trash would be amenable, but it is still something within the purview of the corporation.
Are you looking to hire me?
I think we would call it more of a contract of sorts.
And how you feel when I repair things that are of other corporations?
I think he gets this weird look on his face, and he's just... I would hope you do a rather poor job of it.
Well, what I mean is, if Paragon comes knocking, then what's to say Neo Nerps will not come knocking? If we have this kind of an arrangement, then
You do Paragon Industries, right? And Paragon Industries will keep them off your back.
that is all I'm looking for.
This is agreeable.
Good.
Alright, I think that
Yeah,
answers the question.
I was gonna say. Then I guess the scene would end on some like, now let's discuss the
Right,
part
that's
of
the sort of,
payment
like,
or
let's get
whatever.
to the-
You know, the details.
The details.
Yeah. Perfect. Cool.
I can just imagine just pulling out a contract. It's already in his suit pocket.
Click. So. Cool.
So they want to hire her to keep Paragon Industries tech working.
Cool.
I should say running for the masses.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I'm feeling light for that scene. You
I
guys,
think so.
light?
I think so.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. To Ben.
Okay. So I either, just to reiterate the options here, I either pick the other parent,
Mm-hmm.
or I do a scene.
Yep, basically.
And you can do a scene with Ichi or with Akiko.
Yes.
Or, sorry, no, Faust. Faust is the child here. General Faust is the child here.
Yeah.
Sorry. Boxes are lined up weird.
Yep, I suck at it.
It's okay.
I think I will put the parent as oh wait, I don't know if I can do this. Yeah, I don't think I can. Okay. I wanted to say Master Tong, but then that makes that scene the Union.
Not necessarily. And
No.
also, the child is...
No, that doesn't have to be the Union. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because just because that's the first time they met does not... Or that may not even have been the first time they met. That's not when they
Mm-hmm.
created the child who became Ramirez Faust.
Yeah.
Okay. And then let's say
Yeah. So a union is when they come together in a relationship, and then create offspring. So
oh, okay.
so this could have just been foreshadowing or something.
All right. So, and then I'm just sort of restating what was already done, like security contract work for Paragon.
Mm-hmm.
But I will make it dark.
Nice.
'Cause it was probably not very fun work.
Yeah. Cool. Then it comes to me.
Mm-hmm.
I will make I'll make a dictated scene. I'm gonna make a dictated scene under General Ramirez.
Let's see what you go with.
I just wanted to make a little like vignette about Master Tong and Ramirez, kind of like sitting down, father and son, and basically the question would be, why does Ramirez work so hard at being the best he can be? And I think Tong like sits down with Ramirez and like a father-son thing and being like, I can't let you in as a security contract for Paragon Industries because of like a I guess what I'm trying to say is there is a Paragon Industries and another corporation are like neck and neck in like a battle over something right now, and any sort of sign of actually no, let me take that back. Paragon Industries is in sort of like the midst of an internal struggle of like internal company politics, and so Ramirez coming into Paragon Industries security would view as something like nepotistic in a way that could be like that could limit Tong's promotional abilities, and so he's like, I can't give you any handouts. You're going to have to do this on your own. I will show you. I will personally like train you until you can get your job, but until you get that job, then it's like we can't we can't be associated. But I love you as my son. But this is just the nature of politics, and when this storm blows over, we can reassess. But in the meantime, I need you to be the best you can be. So. Father can't hire his son due to company politics. All right, and I think that's dark because of the times.
All right. And I'm also doing a dictated scene in that same time. My
Nice.
question is, why is Ramirez's last name Faust? And I think it actually relates directly to your question. It's got a different answer now that you did yours. So, I think because he was unable to work for Baragon Industries, he was hired by Roadmaster Corp to and eventually made his way to the head of their corporate army. But because his father now has become so prominent within Paragon Industries, he had to change his name in order to disassociate himself with his father. But it was not done out of a bad place.
Out of malice, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's actually a light event because he basically by taking on this other name, he was able to really live his life out from under the shadow of his father.
Oh, totally. I could. Oh man, that's awesome. Now there's like another scene of him with his dad being like, it's nothing personal, but I have to change this name because of the politics. And when the storm blows over, we can be together. But like in a way, like yeah, like nice. I like that. Oh, that's bitter. It's bitter, but I like it. Cool. Is that's the end of that pass, right?
Yeah, you get to do a.
I think there's legacy.
Yeah,
legacy.
I get to do the legacy. Okay. Let me look back down at our hero. Curiosity is so easy. I don't want to use curiosity. I was thinking of using curiosity and filling in the union part with it, but I think I'm gonna do in light of everything. I think I'm gonna do fate, the fate of Ichi, Marigold, and Master Tong, based on tunnel vision. And I think they end up separating from Ichi as a I think they end up separating around the time of Master Tong's internal Paragon strife, and in a way that he's so focused on tunnel vision on his career that he's just like cutting off these personal ties of anything that could be used against him. Yeah. He sees them as weaknesses, and it's just like I don't know. I don't care right now. Hold on, I gotta do this. So they break up and divorce during Paragon political turmoil. It's amicable. Like, they're very understanding. I think it's light. Um, cool. So just, yeah, tunnel visioned on their work. Because I think that could if there was a scene in it. I know this is overstepping my bounds, but if there was a scene in it, I could totally see like Ishii being like, "I understand. I would do the same to you." You know.
Yeah, totally.
So like,
Right.
um, cool. So that will do it then for this game for Union. Um, woo, we did it, guys! Yay!
Yay.
Uh, so let's we got like 30 minutes or so. How about let's just kind of talk about the game, what we like, what we didn't like, that kind of stuff. So I'm curious. I'm really curious to hear. This was both of your guys' first time with Union, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So what'd you guys think?
It's different enough from Microscope that it took me a little bit to wrap my head around it. Um, but also similar enough that I was able to pick it up fairly quickly. Um,
Yeah, I see that.
I I think it can be hard to do things out of order, but you do that in Microscope already. But when you're part of a branching family tree and you can't just shove something in the middle like you can with Microscope, it feels a
Yep.
little bit more constrained.
Yeah.
And that took some getting used to, I think.
That was the major comment. So I ran Union on Monday as well,
Mm.
and
Oh, okay.
that was the major constraint about the game is what everyone said is that if someone takes your spot, there's no more like I can introduce something between those sort of ideas, right? Like it's much more or I guess I should say it's much less a chronological I can insert things. Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
forced,
Well, you still do have options of being
constrained.
able to do scenes.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to do a scene that talked about like if with Ichi and Master Tong being General Mir's Faust's father, like how did he wind up General Faust at that point? And when you're like, I'm gonna do a scene for General Faust, and I'm like,
Yeah.
but it actually wound up being okay and adding a lot of stuff. And even if someone, unless what they insert 100% invalidates your idea, you can usually like work it in or make a scene about it, I think.
Yeah, basically. Kind of also kind of like Microscope though. I really like that you focus on the interesting parts, and what's interesting is what you also focus on. In a way, like
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
like cyclical or excuse me, circular.
Yeah.
You end up like for example, like we chose as our lenses. We did a lot of with like Ramirez, Master Tong. I know that was kind of just because those also was fresh in my brain because of the end. But I feel
Mm-hmm.
like we really started fleshing out like this dynamic of family like right there, like that little angle, and we started doing it a little bit with Luna
Mm-hmm.
in magazine and like getting this sort of like idea. And I think what I was gonna say is I wish we had like another hour and like we could have explored kind of like how it just felt like Luna's story and like the wasteland part is sort of like it exists but it's not yet like tied in hard enough back to the actual story, and I feel like there's like we're just missing this tiny little nudge there, right?
Yeah.
I know. Sorry, please.
All right. I do know, at least compared to the time I did Microscope, that I'm not sure if this is Union or if this is just with a different group and fewer people, but like the the it took us longer to figure out sort of like those beats you were talking about
Yeah.
in this game. It sort of took a while to find those and where we could sort of play into certain things. Like at the beginning, it seemed really. It was a little nerve wracking just to see like all the blank cards, and it's like
Yeah.
you gotta. That is something you gotta name like right now, and
Oh, I
it's
agree.
definitely a lot more structured than picking a period
Um,
in Microscope. So
yeah. The other difficult part is like we were. It was clear from our first hour. Like it was, we were having issues at the start. We were having issues at the start of coming up with our hero and what we wanted because it was so contingent on the palette, and the palette wasn't done yet.
yeah,
There's like that sort of like power dynamic between what you establish in the hero versus what goes on in the palette, and all that kind of stuff is very. I don't know. I think I'm actually gonna ask Ben for some advice about that tomorrow. Um, yeah, that sort of thing that came out to me, but
And Leafington's got a pretty good point about it can be easier to make an event and then introduce a character versus making characters and then events about them.
oh
And I can definitely see that being true. And I guess part of what I try to do was like think about um, scenes that you might want to have and like who might be in them. That can always be interesting. Um,
right. Like
Definitely.
I was having that issue. Like one of the things I was thinking of with uh, the let me see if I can remember her name with Luna was like I kind of like I didn't really care about the other person yet, but I thought a union scene would be cool. And so I was like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I have to do the character first. Okay.
yeah, exactly,
But
exactly. That it kills you.
so I
Um,
was thinking of this like weird like
so
post apocalyptic like nursing injury type thing going on or something.
oh yeah,
And we never actually got to that. Like
Right.
like
exactly.
I know you had that idea, and it's like I feel a little disappointed that we never did it. And I think another thing that we could have done, and I briefly considered it when it was my turn a second time, was to select the focus to be a card that's already filled out.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
know,
and
um,
really just nail down. I could see, I could see that. So, um, I think overall, I would just rather play Microscope than Union, unless there was a very like poignant thing I wanted to explore.
Right.
Um, I don't know.
I'd like to try it again,
Yeah, this
just
was it
because
was more fun the second time. I will
I
say that.
I definitely had like the feeling of growing pains. Like playing
Hmm.
this, I
Yeah.
definitely felt like I was learning a system. And that's fair because I basically was. Because
Hmm.
even though it's a variant of a system that I know and that I love, it's like I said initially, it's enough different that it made it a little bit hard to get into. And I should have, and I didn't, and I still didn't, like pulled up like a random name generator because naming
Yeah.
people and places is the
Um,
worst.
no, I think yeah, that's a partial failure on my end. Um, I don't share this enough, but there's a project with a bunch of names in it called the Story Games Names Project. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
Google it. It's compiled by Jason Morningstar. It's super impressive if you ever needed names for people. Um, so
Mhm.
I'll share that with the next group whenever I play. So I guess next Monday or
Yeah, you
maybe I don't know.
shared wow. You shared that with me before, but I didn't pull it up, and I probably should have,
Yeah,
and I didn't really think about it that much until now. But
yeah. Don't sweat. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know naming people, places, things um, can be a real stumbling block.
yeah.
And this
But
definitely relies on having names.
yeah, I think I mentioned during one of the breaks earlier that especially this variant of Microscope heavily depends upon names and names of things for tone and implied stuff later on.
Yeah, that's what Leafington like put out, and what Kelsa um, pointed out as well. Yeah, like the putting the characters first and then coming up with the events means that you have to front load characters with like a lot of those nuances and like whatever the tone and terms you actually
Mm-hmm.
use, like the actual words, like your diction and your tone.
Right.
Um, sets sort of what you want out of it, because that's how you can express the type of events you want to see in that space.
Yeah, I guess I'm probably gonna phrase this really weird, but like in a lot of like narrative style things, there's sort of like the follow the football trope of like a lot of things can be happening, but somewhere there's this like through line going to
Yeah,
places. And with this, because everything is like a tree and we're working down, there isn't any singular thread.
it's
And
multiple.
so
Yeah, it's several
and
threads.
so that can be where some of the issues are because Microscope original, like it's one thing, you just go from over here to over here
Yeah,
and you can pick wherever you want on that one thread. And so I think that might be where some of the stumbling blocks are, is like figuring out how to pace that a little better.
maybe.
It's a different beast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually once again freaking Leavington's a genius and like has awesome questions too. It's like what you just said, I think it made me realize that perhaps it's unfair to call Union like Microscope. It's like it is a different beast. Like perhaps I'm being too unfair at judging Union as it is to Microscope instead of really its own game. Because this definitely, it does feel very different than regular Microscope.
I haven't had a chance to watch the VOD from Monday. Were any
Yeah.
of your players from Monday new to Microscope, having never played it, and so this was their first exposure to the
Oh, no, they've all played Microscope before, but it was their first
So-
times with Union.
So maybe it would be interesting to play Union with some people who have never played Microscope.
With just fresh
before.
eyes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll be able to do that. So this weekend is one of the few weekends I actually have that like I can have some space to game and do stuff. So I might run a another like Once Upon a Game like special episode this weekend. So just like stay tuned, and I'll work that out and get a group, and
Cool.
I'll try to do that. I'll try to do Union with some just completely new people. So we'll see. So all right. So any last things, guys?
This
So
was fun. I enjoyed
I
playing
had
with
fun.
you.
yeah, thank you. No, thank you guys so much for sitting down playing games with me. Big thanks to all our viewers and Leavington being awesome. So thanks a lot, guys. Once again, I'm EricVulgaris. You'll find me on Twitter, EricVulgaris, and everything. Ben.
I'm Ben. I go by Sithmaster in a lot of the Twitch communities. You can find me on Twitter at the same handle. Besides this, I also have a Burning Wheel game I do with some Math Squad people. That is usually on Sundays, and if you search for Math Squad Burning Wheel on YouTube, you can find some old VODs of that. But that's
Awesome.
about it.
I didn't know that those were VODs of it. Awesome.
Yeah, there's like 9 episodes of it.
Cool.
Awesome.
I'm Kelsa. You can find me at Kelsa on Twitter or Kelsa Delphi on Twitch. I'm playing in an Apocalypse World game, and also on Wednesdays during the day. Like 2 to 4 to 5 Pacific time. That's during the day for me, but not necessarily for everybody else. I'm playing in a Dresden Files game on Monday nights with some other Math Squad people. And very, very soon, depending on people's schedule, I will be running a Dresden Files game on Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. Pacific. Hopefully this Sunday. However, one of my players has informed me that it's very possible that he may have to work overtime, in which case we will not be able to do it.
Wow.
But it's been on hiatus because I broke my leg, so...
Oh, yeah. Shit, well.
Turns out it's really hard to GM a game while you are just messed up on pain pills. So...
I know. I wish you the best. Seriously. So, anyways, that will do it for this evening's game. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
See ya.